channel. Today we're talking Tyson Fury. I really don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but here we go. If you're a Tyson Fury fan, prepare yourself for what some people like to call the truth. Here's your chance to get the hell out. Now, we've all been sick and tired of Tyson Fury. He will go down as just one of the biggest liars in sports history. The amount of times he's given interviews where he just bold-faced, bold-headed even, lies to people. What we fell in love with Tyson Fury for, and I mean that in a strictly, admiration way, was a guy who took a fight against Geordie that other people seemingly didn't want when he wasn't in the best shape of his career, and did the unthinkable. Took the power, took the shot, got back up, showed never say die attitude. He became a hero to a lot of people in that moment, and he'd been on that mental health sort of speaking tour about preaching mental health to everyone. And I think in the eyes of a lot of people, after some very controversial statements earlier in his career, he really had done a lot of good work to win the hearts back of the public. But my God, has he done everything he can to destroy that. I think we're just so fed up with him saying one thing and doing another, claiming he wants to fight the best, saying he's the greatest, and then taking fights against Chisora and Dillian White, who, I get Dillian White was a mandatory, but they're basically the same style of fighter, which is a walk in the park for him, easy money for him, selling out arenas, everyone supporting him, to take the easiest fights possible. And we are so bored of it. And when we watched Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk going at it in the way that they did, really putting an elite level boxing match on in the heavyweight division, and seeing Alexander Usyk throw twice as many, literally twice as many punches as Tyson Fury did in his last fight against Deontay Wilder, you see with the footwork, you see with the speed, all of the reasons why Tyson Fury has a massive challenge on his hands if he fights Usyk. And that's exactly why we want to see it. We want to answer the question of who is the greatest of this generation, and he does not want to answer that, and Usyk does. So he puts it on Usyk, 70-30, otherwise I'm not doing it. Usyk says yes, and then the demands get more and more and more ridiculous, to the point where that fight can't go through. And he did what a guy who doesn't want to take the fight does, which is price himself out of it. That's all well and good if you're any old fighter, but when you're the heavyweight champion of the world, you can't do that. And look, then he tries to set it up again, and it's supposedly happening in December, and Usyk signs on with Saudis. He's ready because there's this big card happening of Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, and then the main event, Usyk versus Fury. It could be amazing. And the only one of all of those big names to not manage to be able to make this work is Tyson Fury, because he is always the problem. And the one time he makes what seemed like a genuine offer to even fight AJ was right off the back of an AJ mental collapse against Alexander Usyk, which was a mentally damaging defeat that he took. So he wanted AJ, but at his weakest possible moment. These are the things that fans see through. And before his fans start talking, you kick your ass. Yeah, he should be able to. He's the heavyweight champion of the world, lad. I'm not denying that. But he needs to behave like the heavyweight champion of the world. Because I'll tell you now, you talk about Muhammad Ali and people like that, mate, you're not even fit to lace the fucking boots of the greatest. The man, Muhammad Ali, not even the fighter, the man was 10 million times the person Tyson Fury is. There was a man who was willing to say what he meant and to back it up and die on his shield for what he believed in. Tyson Fury ain't even close to the caliber of human, let alone boxer, Muhammad Ali was. The guy can't even just get in the ring when he says he's going to. Muhammad Ali fought every one of the greatest fighters he could get his hands on, even when they beat the hell out of him, came back for more. That man, you can't even compare Fury to that. And it's a shame, because the charisma of Fury, the skills of Fury, they are comparable. But the human, and now we're getting on to who he is going to fight. Frank Warren has come out, old man Frank, and said, it's game-changing. We ever heard that before? Hashtag DAZN. We all seen how game-changing DAZN was. We're going to do away with pay-per-view. That lasted 2 seconds. Now they've lost Canelo. Fuck me, what a mess that's turning into. So what he's basically saying is, never seen before. Why is that? Because nobody fucking asked for it. We're clearly looking at Francis Ngoannau versus Tyson Fury. So you mean to tell me that Tyson Fury didn't fight Anthony Joshua when he had the opportunity to do so, when Joshua was Joshua? Didn't fight Alexander Usyk. These are Olympic gold medalist, elite level, multiple division, multiple belt champions, and instead took on Derek Chisora, Dillian White, who are both shot, no offense, because I respect the fuck out of them. They're dogs, right? These guys have been through it. And you need them to build up the champions, but they're never going to be on that level. And then you avoid two great fighters, and then you go and fight Francis Ngannou, who would be having, let me make this clear, his first ever professional boxing match against the heavyweight champion of the world. Let that sink in. There's your great champion. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got major respect for Francis Ngannou, and we're going to get onto that fight. And I don't necessarily hate the fight as an entertainment spectacle. How are you going to have a fight with Francis Ngannou before you've even cemented your legacy as the undisputed champion of the world?
Those are some words of True Geordie as he destroys Tyson Fury and gives you a synopsis of what Tyson Fury has been doing. And I have to 100% agree and add with my own counterpunch, okay? For one, people do have this twisted. Tyson Fury, when they were supposed in negotiations with Tyson and Usyk signed to fight Dubois, then signed to Skills Challenge. Not Skills Challenge first and then Dubois. No. They went from... Now look, watch this pattern. I want you guys to pay attention to this pattern. Okay. Tyson Fury called out AJ for a 40-60, or sorry, a 60-40 split. 60% to Tyson Fury, 40% for Anthony Joshua. Okay. Then he all of a sudden makes up a deadline all coked up. You guys remember that. That shit was hilarious. He was coked up when Joseph Parker was knocked out by Joe Joyce. You know, he left for a long time. I was making jokes, just thought he was just bullshitting, but I kind of had this intuition like, yeah, you went to go do some blow. But anyway, he left, he came back after Joe Joyce annihilated, beat up, and knocked out Joseph Parker. He comes on there all coked up. Monday, right? And he gives a deadline. So that's dead in the water. So that Monday changes to that following Friday, which they were still trying to do this, and you know, and then they had all this other stuff going because it's Anthony Joshua you're fighting or whatever. So right after that, watch the pattern. He couldn't get the fight with Joshua for that reason. He bullshitted and kind of sabotaged his whole negotiation team. But then right after that, Joe Joyce calls him out. He says, no, Joe, I'm not going to fuck with you. So he ducks Joe Joyce. Then he goes right to Derek Chisora, the same 258, which is the same company, all right, management company that manages AJ. That's AJ's management company. Derek Chisora is with that same company. So Frank Warren goes from Anthony Joshua literally to Derek Chisora and make that fight that easy. No deadline, no nothing. Okay, none of that shit had to happen. He didn't have the need to do Monday. He didn't have the need to do any of this sophisticated, difficult stuff. Okay, then he beats Derek Chisora, claims he has an elbow injury. Okay, Usyk said, well, hey, I'll see you at the first beginning of January. When that came, negotiations supposed to start it, but nothing really happened, and I really didn't know what was going on, so I was getting nervous, honestly. You know, so then he ups, check this out, he ups and gives that 70-30 lowballing offer, one of the piss poorest excuses for an offer that you've seen coming and sending it to a unified champion. Usyk accepts. Then he goes, moves the goalpost and say, well, hey, what about this rematch? How about no rematch? Okay, so what are you talking about a rematch for, Tyson? So he makes it difficult once again. Then here's the pattern. Here's the similarities. So then what Frank does, right? Frank, being the promoter of Tyson Fury, goes and makes a fight with Daniel Dubois. They have a purse bid. I think it was on the 24th of May, right? The 24th of May, they have the purse bid. Alexander Usyk gets 8. Dubois gets 2. okay, or 3. And so look at the similarity. So Frank can easily make a fight with Usyk with another fighter, but can't make it with Tyson. Meanwhile, last year, Tyson can easily make a fight with this management company for one guy, which is Derek Chisora, a guy that he knows he can beat, that he's already beaten twice, rather than make a fight with AJ with the same management company. So there's a lot of shit wrong with that. So it seems like to me, you have no problem fighting these low-end fighters, or your management or your promoters have no problem making a deal with other fighters. They just have a problem with you. Okay? So now you fight Francis Ngannou, a guy that's not even ranked, a guy that's not even a boxer, and you waste time and you still claim to be the best ever, or the best that ever came out his mother's womb. Whoa. Okay, so True Geordie's like, well, hey, yeah, you shite, and this is a big joke, absolute joke. And yes, I agree. I have to agree. Why? Because Tyson Fury is not acting like a champion. Tyson Fury is acting like a fucking payaso, a clown. He's acting like a clown, and he's acting like a person that's afraid, that doubts himself, that behind the scenes don't really have self-esteem at all, okay, because of what he's doing and his actions. His words are a bunch of talk, but he doesn't do anything. You could have went down the line. You could have fought Frank Sanchez. That's what you do when you're worried about finding competition. And he had no effort to do that. In fact, what Tyson Fury's father, John Fury, said earlier this year in January, oh, Francis Ngannou has a better chance of beating Tyson Fury than Alexander Usyk. So that tells you by itself, all by itself, that these motherfuckers had this planned from the beginning of the year. Okay, they just had to go through the song and dance and through the steps of pretending to want something, and they really didn't want it to get what they really wanted to do. So now they're showing you, this is what we wanted to show you for Tyson, not Alexander Usyk, because Usyk might be a fucking banana peel, let's face it. You throw twice as many punches, to a fighter, more than likely you're going to win. And you don't have to knock a person out to beat the shit out of them, people, okay? So that's pretty much what they wanted to do, and that's what they got. Okay, so that's it. Why would you bring Francis Ngannou into the picture anyhow? Like, what's the deal? You put that and you planted that seed because you wanted people to pay attention. But at the same time, you gave yourself away because you're letting us know what your future plans are, and it ain't to fight Alexander Usyk. That's why Big John Fury was so furious at Javen Sugar Hill, because Javen Sugar Hill wasn't in on the joke. He wasn't in on the plot. So he let the cat out of the bag, like, I wasn't even training Tyson that time that they supposed to have been negotiating. So how can we really be serious that Tyson was really going to fight Alexander Usyk? Because he wasn't. He wasn't. His plan was to fight Francis Ngannou. This is what we have. Shout out to True Geordie once again. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!